Hey everyone, how are you guys doing? If you're new here, my name is Dani Christine. I'm a childcare business owner, consultant, and a digital content creator on childcaresites.com, where you can find resources for childcare professionals such as yourself, including things like courses for childcare professionals, private video consultation services for business owners, and webinars like this one that you are about to watch. This webinar features our guest host, Tamica Oglesby, and she is going to go over different strategies that you can use both in your childcare business and at home if you are a parent of a young child in regards to potty training. And there is so much useful information, including 2 different speeds of potty training, which I didn't know about. You can do it the quick way that is just as successful as doing it a more traditional, slower way. And Tamika really goes through that process with you and talks about the different services that she provides to parents and providers alike. So please stay tuned. Be sure to scroll down and click that subscribe button if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, and then head on over to childcaresites.com, enter in your email address to subscribe over there. And be sure to check out Tamica's information as well, which she will share during her webinar so that you can get in contact with her to see how she can support you and the children that you care for. All right, let's get started. Tamika Oglesby is the founder and CEO of Potty Schmotty, and her courses are offered in an online class format for parents as well as educators. She has traveled nationally to present her stress-free potty training technique, and in the midst of the pandemic has moved to Zoom platform to offer virtual training, boot camps, and masterclasses. Her programs have assisted thousands of families and professionals transitioning to potty done in the most efficient, stress-free way possible. I would ask Tamika how she's doing, but she can't hear me. I can hear her, so hopefully you guys can hear her as well. And yeah, we'll get started in just 1 second with Tamika.
Okay, how is everyone? I hope that you all can hear me fine. I am clearly having issues hearing Dani today, but I do want to take a moment to thank her for sharing her platform. I think it's such a wonderful thing when we as business women support each other. I am all about making sure that we're supporting each other as best we can. So with that being said, today I am going to share with you a little bit about this company and the products that we offer and what we share with our clients. Like I said, my name is Tamica Oglesby. I am the founder and CFO of Potty Schmotty. Thank you all for coming out. I greatly appreciate it. And today what we're going to do a little bit of is what I like to call sharing is caring, okay? All of us childcare professionals know and understand how important sharing is. So I'm going to share a little bit about myself. You all are going to share a little bit about yourselves, and then I'll share about me. And then we're going to go in and talk about Potty Schmotty and how Potty Schmotty works in a childcare facility. So let's dive on in. And actually, before we actually even get started, let me say, please, you all want to grab a piece of paper and a pencil at this point, or something to write with at this point, so that you can take some notes. We will be answering questions at the end, and you want to make sure that you're fully prepared. So grab some stuff, because this is not the way most people have talked to you about potty training. So you definitely want to learn some things today. So while you all are doing that, please feel free to share your name, the name of your company, the role that you play in your company, and your level of experience with potty training. Will this be, you just got put into a room with all of the toddlers and you are now responsible for potty training them before they move to the preschool class? Are you the one who is totally and completely, in charge, and you're like, I haven't even potty trained my own child, let alone a group full of children? Where are you in the process? And I'm not sure because I can't hear Dani. Either you all can go on and put some stuff up in the chat so that I know exactly who it is that I'm speaking with, or if Dani will unmute you all. I don't know if I have the ability to do that or not, or if I'll even be able to hear you. So let's just go with the chat room. Share your information up in the chat and let's see exactly who you are, the name of your company, the role that you play, and the level of experience that you have with potty training. So who's here? All right, well, we're going to get started. If you guys send it, then I'll come back and respond to that. And otherwise, we're just going to keep it moving. So, who is this woman? As I like to say, who is the crazy woman who is into potty training? Okay, to let you know, I am a mother of 7 beautiful children. Yes, I did say 7. And I definitely learned the importance of understanding that each child is a unique individual. And you really want to teach each child as a unique individual, whether they are your personal children or the children that you work with in your child care facility. Also, I'm an educator with over 20 years of experience with children through all levels, from the preschool level through college and beyond. And I currently work at a university, and with all of the corona stuff that's going on, we're still looking at how we're moving forward. But we all know that childcare centers and preschools, daycares all over the country are opening back up, and you all are essential employees. You're essential workers. Like, parents cannot go to work without you. College, they can go to work if their children don't go to college, but without you, they cannot get their jobs done. So also, I have literally traveled the country teaching what I have phrased the Potty Schmotty way to parents and educators looking for an easy, effective way to get this potty training thing done. So let me tell you what happened to me, okay? When I got pregnant with my first child ended up being a set of twins. So right off the bat, I like to tell people, I don't know what it's like to have one child. I've never had the pleasure of only having one child. Started with 2 from the door. So, and potty training, as you can imagine, was important because there were 2 right out the door. And my grandmother had a rule that she would watch any of her children's children, her grandchildren, or her great-grands, as long as they were potty trained. So as you can imagine, potty training became very important to me. And then I ended up getting married a few years later, and I had to use this picture. And the man that I married wanted a boatload of kids. And you know what happens when you're young and in love? You will do anything because you're young and in love and maybe a little crazy. And so his grandmother had 7 children, and he just thought that his mother and his uncles and aunts had just had such a wonderful experience growing up that he wanted his children to have that same experience. And so we had a boatload of children. And from that experience, I learned a quick and easy method for potty training. And lo and behold, shortly thereafter, really honing that experience in, I reached out to a number of mommy conferences, which was actually a thing before this coronavirus kicked in. And I was able to travel the country with these different mommy conferences teaching this method. And the more I taught it, the more that I found parents and educators were extremely interested in it. And people were really looking for a method because, especially in the daycare settings, what I find is that somebody may have a method that kind of works for this child over here, but this child over here is not quite catching for, or, you know, it's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of power struggles, whether it's with the children, whether it's with the parents, the grandparents, whoever it is. There's just a lot of this going on, as opposed to it being a smooth and easy process where everybody is coming along for the ride, because that is ultimately what you want to happen. So the purpose of the Potty Schmotty potty training is to, number one, share the 3 easy steps to potty training. And yes, there's only 3, okay? And you want to use this whether you're teaching one child or whether you're teaching a classroom full of 12 children. It doesn't matter. This technique will work. The other thing that you want to do is you want to walk through the Potty Schmotty way. I'm going to walk through the Potty Schmotty way to show you just how easy potty training should be. It should not be a stressful concept for you nor for the child. It just should not be. And then, if this makes sense to you, I'm going to explain to you how you can work alongside myself and my team to navigate even the most challenging potty training situations. So what I like to tell people is today, I'm giving you all the tea. I'm giving all of it to you. I'm telling everything. Well, maybe not everything, but most importantly, I'm giving you the tea on me because I believe firmly in minding my business, okay? And I'm going to explain to you how I went from being a mom of twins, praying for a stress-free, easy potty training solution, to a businesswoman who's sharing a proven, easy potty training technique that anyone could use at any time with pretty much any child. So, how did my diaper changing years begin? I like to share with people, like I said, my grandmother had a technique, or a belief, I should say, that she would take any of her children's children. She'd take any of her grands, any of her great-grands. If she was still alive, she would probably even take her great-great-grands. And she would take them without complaint as long as they were potty trained. And because I was a teenage mother, yes, that's me, too young to be having children at 16. And again, not one child, but 2 at 16. I quickly recognized that I needed to find a potty training technique quickly, okay? In addition to my grandmother having this rule, my mother had the audacity to follow suit. She was like, I'll watch them as soon as they're potty trained. So again, potty training became extremely important in my household and in my world. And so I learned about this 1-day technique, and I was like, okay, this might work. Let me try it on the twins, see how this works out, and, you know, we'll kind of go from there. And I have to tell you, it worked. The technique worked, but I have to tell you, it was so stressful. And the stress component of it was what was really kind of freaking me out. I do not like stressing out my children or other people's children. So to see that I was able to get this done, I looked back afterwards and I was like, why didn't they just add this, and this? I was like, okay, I don't understand what sense this makes. But then what I also did is I stuck it in the back of my mind that it worked. It just needed this, and this added to it, and it would have been perfect in my mind. And so When I got married and started having this huge family of 7 children, I remembered this technique and I have literally used it with each and every one of my own children. And what I found was that it was working. Everywhere I looked, it was working. But I also say that when you have 7 children, getting up and going out to work in the workforce may not be the wisest thing to do. Household needs support, children need support, husbands need support, and as well as wives need support. And being out of the house on a regular basis just didn't work for me per se. So what I decided to do was to start my own childcare center in the house and tried it with those children. And lo and behold, again, it worked. I have a belief system that children will mold themselves to fit the adults in their lives. And if you don't believe me, I want you to think of parents coming to pick the children up, whatever time your parents come to pick the children up. Have you ever seen the mommy act? Have you ever seen a child who was perfectly fine 5 minutes ago and let their mom walk in the door and all of a sudden the dramatics come out, because they know us. They know who they can do what with. And with that being my belief system, what I knew that I needed to do was to make sure that the children who I had some level of responsibility for were not just, molding themselves to fit me. So I went to other friends' daycares. We all have people that we work with in other daycares. So I went to other friends' daycares. It's like, hey, I have this. Let me kind of try it out, see if it works here. And they let me come in. I went to like 3 different daycares within the course of maybe about 2 or 3 months. And in each and every daycare I went to, it worked like a charm. And so I was like, okay, I may really be on to something here. And then what happened was one of the parents in one of my friend's daycares, he happened to be a friend of mine too. He was moving his family across country. And he says to me, you've potty trained my daughter. You won't be here to potty train my son. Where's the book? I was like, book? What is he talking about? I don't know anything about writing a book. And so what I ended up doing is I literally thought about, because I didn't actually write it at that point, but I thought about it, writing this book. And so, the end of an era, after 7 children, after 20 years of marriage, my ex-husband approached me and was like, look, this isn't working. I want a divorce. I was like, divorce? Are you kidding me? And so we all know, what do we do when life hands you lemons? You make lemonade. And so that was when I actually sat down and decided to write the book. I was like, I need a project that's going to help me, keep my mind out of the chaos that my life has now become, and something that's going to keep me focused. And so I sat down, I wrote the book. I wrote a number of books in this realm, actually. And I was like, okay, let's just do this. So that is pretty much how we got started with Potty Schmotty and the Potty Schmotty way. So I don't know if your chat is not enabled, but I didn't get anything from before. So we're going to keep it moving. And I'll just say to you, if you can give a amen, if you can give a shout out, we're just going to keep it rolling. Okay. So let me say again, there are 3 basic secrets to Potty Schmotty. Okay, yes. There are 3 basic secrets to Potty Schmotty. The first one is prepare everyone for the joy of potty training, because we all know how much we love potty training, right? It is the thing that we love the most, right? So you want to make sure that you're including everyone, that you're preparing everyone for the joy of potty training, including the kids, including the children. Most people start with the children. It's not where you want to start. Secret number 2, shop for the proper tools to get the job done. And I like to tell people there are a few that you will never, ever think of. Got you. Okay. Secret number 3 is literally you can potty train in one day, usually before lunch. Now, I'm going to tell you, most of my daycare providers, actually, I'll start with my parents. Most of my parents who do this, they will start with an older child. Like, they normally come to me because they have a child who's somewhere between 18 months and 3 years old that they're attempting to potty train. They'll come, they'll use the techniques, and then they'll recognize, like, oh, wow, these are the things that I should be doing for my new baby, or, you know, my younger child. And it's like, yes, these are the things that you can be doing to start the process earlier. So do know and understand that, yes, starting at the older age group, yes, you want to do that, but you also want to know and recognize that you can start potty training your younger children. And let's talk about that a little bit. So the initial booklet, this is not the initial book that I wrote, but this is one of the first ones that I wrote, and it's called the Prepping Series. And one of the things that I share in the Prepping Series is that you can literally start to do some things with a newborn that will help you get them potty trained. So I want you to think about that in your own programs. If you have a newborn child who a parent is bringing in, and you're already doing some things that's going to help, what did I say, make the path to potty training smooth and easy, you want to start. So most people think that you can't start with a newborn, but I'm here to tell you that you can. And one of the things that I always tell people is that when you think that you start late and you add unneeded stress to you, your families, your childcare teachers, and most importantly, the children in your program. So most people don't know that there are steps that you can do to help make this a smooth and easy process. So I like to share this one technique. So we all know that right now the CDC is recommending that everyone is washing their hands, okay? It's not a bad thing to do. And before coronavirus became a thing, one of the songs that we would use when I had my preschool is that we actually encouraged people to sing the alphabet song as opposed to the happy birthday song twice. The alphabet song once is the exact length of time that the CDC recommends that you wash your hands. So that does a few things for you with the children in your program. It's teaching them something they already need to know. It's dealing with the amount of time needed to be washing hands. But let me show you another thing that it does for you. When you start singing the alphabet song to a child when you're changing their diaper, what you're showing that child is that song is some way and somehow connected to diapering, potty training, all of those kind of things. Then as that child becomes a little older and they are now crawling around or they're getting around however they're getting around, you're still singing the song as you're changing their diaper. And as they see you, whether you're using wipes, whether you're using Perel, whether you're going and actually washing your hands and they can see you do that, they're also going to see you singing that song while you're washing your hands after you've just changed their diaper. In addition to the fact that if you're teaching them, you're teaching their parents to also do this when these children are now busting in the bathroom of any and everyone, because heaven forbid someone get to go to the bathroom by themselves with the toddler around, then the children will be able to start continuing to connect that song to diapering and potty changing. And then when you begin to whether you do it this way or not. Take the children to the bathroom. These children don't even know how to go to the bathroom yet, but they see everyone in the bathroom washing their hands, singing the song, and they may even go up and wash their hands and sing the song. So that on the day when you actually potty train them, they already know the song, they already know how to wash their hands, and they've already made the connection between this song and washing their hands and this being connected to the whole diapering, potty changing, diapering, potty training concept. So that's just one of the ways that we show people, like, you want to take a newborn, this is what you do with your newborn that will be built upon as we go through the process, because that's what learning is. I like to explain to my parents that it is a building process, partially because the other way of doing it typically is somebody gets up one day and it's like, I'm tired of changing diapers, I'm tired of paying for diapers, or the daycare just told me that little Johnny is getting ready to get moved to the big boy or girl class. And in order for that to happen, you have to get potty trained. So we tend to deal with potty training as like a pop quiz, I like to say. And the children often feel like, I didn't get any cliff notes, I didn't get anything. I just got told one day that I had to start going to the potty. And so we try to avoid that as much as possible. So yes, instead of I'm potty training the children in my program, but I don't know what to do, the way that we set up the prepping series, you know exactly what to do. And you can break it down for the different teachers in your program, whether you have an infant class, a young toddler class, an older toddler class, and a preschool class. You have a child who comes in at 3-4 years old and they are not potty trained yet. You know, first of all, you want to make sure that they're not on the spectrum, but even if they are, we have professionals we can connect you with who can assist with that. But if they're not, yes, and we can talk about this a little later too, we have ways where you can potty train fast. So you have a 3 or 4 year old coming in and you need to get them done. We have ways where you can do it fast. And then we have ways where you can do it slow, where you can take your time, introduce different techniques in each of the classrooms so that by the time the teacher who is training, these children have had a lot of prep in terms of it. And that's what we call it. It's prep. These are the 3 easy steps: prep, shop, and train. And again, training is typically done in one day. So a key takeaway for you at this point is your parents and your children will believe what they see in your eyes and in your heart. And you want to prepare everyone and the children for potty training. Don't just start with the children. And we've all had this experience as well, where you only focus on the children, you send them home on Friday, they come back on Monday, and they're in diapers again. We've all had it happen, okay? And that's because you started with the children as opposed to bringing those parents on along for the ride. And we'll show you how to do that. Secret number 2, shop for the proper tools to get the job done. And there are a few things that you need that you would never think about. But for my daycare providers, I feel like this is one of the most important components of it. Because like I said, you send them home on Friday in underwear, doing very well. They come back on Monday in pull-ups or diapers. And that's because most people believe that child care providers should be handling potty training and that parents shouldn't have to do, you know, a thing, or at least very little. And you are going to help your parents understand their role. So they invest the time, the money, and the energy. Even if it's something as simple as, okay, parents, we're really getting into our potty training. I need you to read a book, a potty book every night. Oh, you don't have a book? Oh, guess what? We made this book of your child in class related to potty training. So here's the book. You now have a book. You don't even have to go buy a book because we created one for your child in class this week. Okay, so we show you how to help bring your parents along, and we show you how to shape your child's mind so that they're ready. Okay, and that's what you ultimately want, because you don't want parents walking around with the concept of that's not my job. Okay, the other thing is that most parents think that all you need to potty train is a potty. And as educators, we know better. We know that you need more than just a pencil to teach your child how to write. You need more than just a crayon to teach your child how to draw. Paper is a key component of that, okay? Drawing something may involve a little bit of imagination, okay? When you want them to draw something, oftentimes they will ask you, well, what do you want me to draw? Well, how do I draw that? You know, there are components to this that you want to cover, and it's not something that takes you forever to cover it. And the other thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that your parents don't feel judged, because, well, after coronavirus, I don't think anybody is feeling like they know more than their childcare providers, if that was ever their thought. But they're definitely not there now. And so we show you what items it is that you want to help provide not only the childcare facility with, but also the parents with. And you're not buying these things for them, but again, you want to make sure that they have them. And if it is something that you can support them with by making at the school and sending home with the child, any book with a child's own picture in it, a parent is going to invest the time in reading at some point. And again, investment is the key. So to recap again, 3 easy steps. Prep and shop are quick and easy. They do not take forever. It's little things that are being done. The longer time you take to do it, the better. When you have to do it quickly, which we'll still get to, we'll show you how to do that as well. And then the potty training in one day. And of course, I'm not going to actually tell you how to do it here and now. We do have a workshop we hope that you will attend, where we will begin to share with you what it looks like to work with us. But I will tell you this, that usually it is done by noon. Even with a classroom full of students, you can typically get all of them potty trained by lunchtime. And most people tend to think that forcing your child to sit on a potty after they drink or eat will train them to go to the potty. And I'm here to tell you, it doesn't train them, it trains you. And you end up chasing the children around, and instead of training the children to go to the potty by themselves or to hold it. In most childcare facilities, what ends up happening is you have a specific time where you want the children to go. So, okay, then they will know how to hold it, or they will know to let you know that they have to go to the potty and they can't hold it anymore. And this is why oftentimes when they go home and there's no follow-up, they come back on Monday in diapers and pull-ups, because the children are trained to wait for somebody to take them, or to wait for somebody to tell them it's time for them to go. But when you use this technique, these children will just get up and go. They're not waiting for their parents to tell them. In fact, you at the school, if you don't have a bathroom where they can just go to, you're going to have to tell them to, whoa, 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 okay, we'll all get ready to go to the potty now, because little Sarah, who just learned how to go to the potty, needs to go. Okay, class, let's wrap this project up. We're going to all go potty now. Okay. And I tell people, with the Potty Schmotty way, it is a building step, one on top of the other. The prep, once you prep the parents, once you prep the siblings, once you prep, the grandparents, you tell the parents who to prep, you make sure all of the teachers are on board, you get everybody's mind flowing and working with this, then you'll see The prep leads right into the shop. Oh, what underwear are we getting? Oh, okay. Mom, dad, we need to change the type of pants that they're wearing. We don't need snaps. We don't need, that's too much for a child to have to pull and get out of for themselves. It looks cute. We can save this for when they become experts at this. And then the actual train. It all leads right into each other. And so again, a key takeaway here is the goal is to potty train the children, not to potty train the adults. Okay. And I spoke earlier about there being more than one way to do it. And one of my favorite stories as a child growing up was the tortoise versus the hare. And just to be real quick, the tortoise versus the hare is literally, you know, the tortoise is like, I can beat you in a race at any time. The hare is like, dude, come on, be serious. I am a hare. I will beat you any day, anywhere. So they race, and lo and behold, the tortoise is winning the race. The hare gets distracted. The hare looks up from whatever he was doing, and the tortoise is just about to cross the finish line. And just as he does, the hare is like, let me catch up. Cannot catch up, and the tortoise wins the race. The tortoise, who should never win a race against a hare, wins the race because the hare is totally and completely not paying attention when he needs to. And so what I've developed over the years is the tortoise program as well as the hare program, because both methods are necessary. When you have a child, like I said, who's been with you from day one, the first day mom went back to work, she knew you were the one that she was going to trust her baby to. And so you've had that child, you've nurtured that, you've done the singing, you've done the reading, you've done all of the prep, not only for that child, but also for that family. And then you'll have other parents who come in and they just moved into town, or the child care provider they had, they did not like. And so they want to come to you, and they're looking to you to get this done. Because like I've already shared with you, most parents believe that, you know, child care providers are the ones who are supposed to be getting this done. They come home from work, they want to feed their child, they want to play with them maybe for a hot minute, put them in a bath and put them in bed, okay? So you're the ones who are spending the most time with them. And that hare parent is like, look, I just need you to get this done. And so knowing and understanding that, then you have to work with that piece as well. And so we developed a way for you to do both. Both methods are in there. We walk you through doing it quickly. We walk you through doing it slowly, whichever method is going to work for you. Then the other thing that I would say, you know, about Potty Schmotty is we really are about helping you potty train whichever method you're using in a stress-free zone, okay? We're helping to prepare you, we're helping to prepare the child, all of the parents, the siblings, like all of that. Everybody plays a role in this program. And then, you know, we're standing with you throughout the program. This is not something where you go, okay, I've done it, you know, the kid is done, I'm good, we're going to go from there. No, that's not what this is about at all. It's like, we're here to help you. This child worked, it worked for that child. Oh, okay, you're having some difficulty with that child. Come, talk with me. What's going on? Why is this child different? Okay, what are they doing? What are they saying? What's going on at home? You know, oh, okay, they're having difficulty pooping, but they're fine with peeing. Okay, let's see, what is that about? You know, are they constant? Like, we walk you through. And again, it's not just getting one class done. We're there for all of your classes. Okay. And then, you know, finally, what I like to say to people is that we have people who have gone through this program. We have daycare providers, and because of time, we're not going to go through tons and tons and tons of different providers. But, you know, this is just one of our providers. Her name is Melissa. Actually, her name has been changed because we don't want people looking her up and bothering her, but her name is Melissa, and she was a child care provider who was looking for a method to use in her toddler's class. She's actually the owner. She was not the teacher in the class, and she was frustrated. She was like, I don't understand why this teacher just can't get this done. Like, what is she doing? And so we connected. We walked her through the program, and she literally was calling me back and was like, the grandmother of one of the students in the class was so excited because she was seeing the changes in the child at home. And she just couldn't believe that within days, and Melissa literally was going in the class. I think she wanted to see it work herself. She was going in the class and doing it because she was really frustrated with this particular teacher. But what we helped her to see was it wasn't the teacher. It was the same way, like we tend to do our teachers the same way we do children in terms of potty training. It's like, you know, we just throw them in there, figure it out. And it's like, look, I don't know. Give me the tools, give me the skills, give me what I need so that I can give it to the children. You give it to me, I'll give it to them, and we'll both be happy little campers. So at this point, I am open to whatever questions that you all may have. So give me a moment.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. Amazing.
Okay, perfect. So everybody would like to know how they can get in contact with you. That's one immediate question. And the second question that's also immediate is, where can they buy the book?
Okay, so actually what we've done COVID is we ended up putting everything into an online program. And the way that it works is you come through pretty much like this, a webinar, we call it a boot camp. We have one specifically for parents. We have a parents boot camp as well as a professional boot camp, because we work with nannies, we work with childcare teachers as well as owners. And the way that you get in touch with us is literally just email us at info@pottyschmotty.com, and I can actually, my assistant is on here. She can actually put that in the chat for everybody. There it is. Oh, you're so quick. So that's the best way to reach us. You can also follow us on Instagram or on Facebook. Let us know that you're interested in the next class, which will be this upcoming Friday for our professionals. We also do one, we typically
handle on Facebook and Instagram.
Both of them are at Potty Schmotty. Facebook has the number 1 at the end.
Okay.
And we walk our parents through, we walk our educators through. We're getting ready to do what we call a master class. So we do a prep master class as well as a training master class. We are starting to work with people in the potty industry, because this is becoming more and more a potty industry. To present for the shop master class, we'll be presenting the different potties you can purchase, different, they have something, this one woman has a product where it's just a pad you can put under your children when they're sleeping and get rid of it. So all of these different products, because like I said, you want these things, you know. Another thing we encourage our parents to have, as well as our daycare providers to have, is you want to have a product that's mild enough for your child to clean up after themselves, because that's one of the number one things that helps them stop having accidents on themselves. When they have to clean it up, it's a whole different ball game versus when you're cleaning it up.
Right. Okay, that's great advice. I do have, like I told you before we started, so many questions from the many people that registered. Most
Okay.
I know that many of you guys that do register do so that you could get the replay. I would love it if more people can join live, but I do want to get to some of the questions that some people have. Someone would like to know what are, and I think you covered this, but just in case you did it, in case I missed something, someone said, what are some ways to help support the family during the potty training process? How do you, as a child care provider, get them on board with the idea of working together as a team to meet the success of potty training for the child?
Okay, so one of the things that we actually encourage is peer pressure. I'm a big fan of positive peer pressure, okay? And one of the things that I learned with this one-day technique and doing it for a group as opposed to just an individual child is that even if a parent forgot that this was potty training day, when they walk in, okay, so I didn't finish this part. So when you have when it's in a daycare, then usually my daycare providers will only focus this in the toddler class that they're trying to teach. But once they understand how the method really works, they will begin to expand it across the whole center. So I want you to think for a moment. You have a child who has been being prepped since your infants class. Okay, and you're like helping them, walking them along, encouraging them, whatever you're doing. And then you get to the toddler class. So this parent has been with you, and there are a few things I'll tell you to do with them so that by the time they get to the toddler class, the older toddler class, and it's time for this child to get potty trained, well, it's not just this child, there's a group of them. So that's the first thing. Hopefully your parents are now interacting with each other because, again, I'm assuming this is a group of parents who have been with you for at least a year, maybe two, possibly even three. And then what you want to do is those parents are going to focus together on, okay, Friday is potty day, kind of a deal, or Monday is potty day, whichever one works better for your program. And so as you're encouraging this parent is hearing you, and they're all listening to what you're saying. Oh yeah, you're right, Friday is potty day. Well, guess what? When you've done this for a few years, you actually move into making this, believe it or not, you make potty day a fundraising day, believe it or not, because all of the parents in your program are now participating in this. Even if all they do is buy a little, $1 button or a $5 button, your staff is all in t-shirts. However, you can really focus this into a much bigger thing. But I normally recommend start as a tortoise. Don't jump to the hare yet. But when you start slow, you see how it works, then you can see what you can expand to. But this can become something that you are peer pressuring your parents into, and they just know that it's part of the thing. Because again, when you have a preschooler now, they've moved to the big kids class, and they're now talking to the other parents. They're excited because you're getting them involved too. They remember that day when your child came home. They're also talking to you. Oh, it's going to be amazing. Just wait. You won't have to do anything. Even your parents who have already potty trained their children, talking to other parents about your program. Oh, the way that they potty train is amazing, kind of a deal. So it's one of these things that on a lot of levels you have to kind of see it to fully understand it. And that's why I recommend start slow, but you will definitely get there.
Okay, got it. Someone else wants to know, how important is a child's speech development when potty training? She says her son is a little behind on his expressive language.
Okay, so is this a parent? Is this a child care provider?
I believe it's a parent, maybe both. I believe it's a child care provider because of the email address, but I guess she's speaking from personal.
Okay. So what I would say is, again, I always recommend starting when you're worried developmentally about a child, start with the pediatrician, make sure that all is as it should be, first and foremost. But to be totally honest with you, outside of your child or the children in your program, just being able to tap you and say, I have to go potty or whatever, it's really not necessary, especially if this for at home, especially, it's not necessary. I know a number of people who literally put their toddlers and or their preschoolers right by the restrooms, or they'll have one in the classroom when that's possible. I know it's not always possible, but whatever the case may be, you want to make sure that your child is pretty much that they're able to get to a potty seat, more so than them telling you that they have to get to a potty seat. Okay, so the speech component isn't that important per se.
Okay.
But if it's something you're concerned about, you still want to follow up on that.
Right. And the next question I'll do two more, unless someone still joining us live, has a specific question. But someone that registered says, do you charge more for a child that is potty trained, that is not potty trained versus potty trained? What would you recommend?
I would most definitely recommend charging more for a younger child whose diapers you're changing and things of that nature. Now, if you're talking about a child who is going to be in the older children's classroom where everyone else is potty trained, or even if you're an at-home provider, I think that's totally and completely up to you. And this is my feeling on it, only because of I really don't like stressing out children. I'm into yoga and meditating and all of that kind of stuff. I don't like adding stress to people needlessly. So being mindful, if you're charging more for a child, the level of stress that it's adding to the parents, and whether or not the parents are going to stress the child out about getting them potty trained, and putting undue stress on the child needlessly, when you literally can do this and have a child potty trained. But ultimately, yes, for a child who is, not already potty trained, and that you are now potty training, kind of a deal.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. And that's a great point. I never thought of it that way. I know there are a lot of childcare providers that do charge more as an incentive to, encourage the parent to hurry up the potty training process. But that's a great point, that they could be adding pushing their stress and anxiety onto the child. So that's something you guys might want to consider. And the last question that I'd like to cover, and if you don't mind, if you have time, I'll definitely send you the rest. And then if you can answer some, I'll put them on the webpage where I post the replay for everybody that registered. But the last one that we'll cover is, should we back off potty training if we notice that it's not consistent in the evenings or weekends? Is it okay to have a policy that the parent, well, yeah, that's a whole separate question, but what would you say to that if the parents are not being consistent? Should they back off?
So, and let me say, I'm not in a rush. I'm here. So if you want to give me the second part of that question, that's fine too.
I'll cover that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So, but what I would say is with this technique, and I'm always mindful about how I say this, but kind of you're sidestepping the parents. Like, you're giving them some things to do up front, you're giving them some things to do on the back end, but really this is about you and the child. This is about, remember that whole takeaway, the key takeaway is the parents and the children believe what they see in your eyes and in your heart, okay? And in your heart, if you believe that this child is potty trained and you're giving them the necessary tools to be potty trained, you're taking the time to prepare them mentally to be potty trained, it doesn't matter what those parents do. That child will go to the potty because you've already told them that they can, and they've already seen that they can. And even if they pee, and even if their parents put them back in the pull-up, these become those children, and we've all heard of these children too, who cry because you just put them back in a pull-up. But Miss Jackson told me that I was potty trained. That, like, when I tell you that's what we're doing with these children's minds, that's what we're doing with these children's minds. Like, literally, we have them to the point where, like you told me I was a superstar. Why mom is telling me I'm not a superstar. I don't understand what's wrong with this woman. She crazy because you told me I was a superstar. Okay, and I need you all to really understand that, because you spend more woke hours with these children than their parents do Monday through Friday. Okay, they are going to believe you, and that's why we take the time and spend the energy to prepare ourselves as well as preparing the children, because they'll believe it. They'll do it because you told them they could.
Right. That's a great point. Thank you. And the second part to that question was, is it okay to have a policy that the parent starts to potty train for a few weeks before asking us to join in the potty training process?
Not with this program. This program, literally, you do all of the prep. Like, again, this is their expectation. You're flipping it on them, and unfortunately, a lot of childcare providers feel like, because there's nothing out here for childcare providers to potty train. And that just kind of blew my mind. When I started doing this, I was totally focused on the parents, but there's really no curriculum for potty training for childcare providers. And it's like, well, okay, why not? And so that was part of the reason why we did this too, because we started with the parents, and it was like, oh, wait, no, and talking with the parents, they were like, well, my daycare should do this. Like, well, why should your daycare do it? And it's like, okay, I get it. I understand it. And I understand the frustrations that the daycare providers have. And so it's like, okay, no, let me provide you with the tools that you need so that you can do this. And you trust me, when your skill set is so high, they become secondary. Don't tell them I said that, but they become secondary. Okay. Trust me. I know you're like, how is that possible? Trust me. It's just a conversation between you and this child. The parents really become secondary, especially if you've had this child since your infant class.
Right. This is awesome. I talk all the time in many of my videos and webinars about adding value to your program, to your business. And this is something that you can consider to be a unique selling point. Maybe the daycare down the street from you is not potty training, or just putting that pressure on the parents to get them to potty train. But you have the Potty Schmotty system that helps these babies get potty trained as quickly as possible. and it takes the stress off the parent, and it's one less thing that they have to do or worry about. So that might be something that enables a parent to choose your program versus the several others within the community. There's a question in the chat. Is there ongoing training for staff available? Do you guys provide that?
Yeah, so again, when we do the camps, which is just like the introduction to the program, and then a few times through the year, we do what we call masterclasses, which is a master class on the prep, a master class on the shop. We're still working out who we want in the shop, and then a master class on the train. And yes, you are welcome to send your staff to those at any time, at any point. If you think a teacher needs, additional support, if you want your infant teacher to learn something, or you want your preschool teacher to learn, who all of the children in her class are already trained, but you want her to be able to better support the other teachers in the program. Yes, it's all available for your staff.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tamika. This was amazing information. I appreciate you being here. I'm sorry for all the technical issues we experienced.
It's all on my end. Clearly, your end is working perfectly fine, so I have to figure this out.
No, it happens. It happens. And I will definitely send you the rest of the questions that I have here in front of me, and I hope to have you back on soon.
Yes, most definitely. Thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you all, and thanks everyone for coming out. I had a ball.
So did I. Thank you. Have a good night, everybody. Look out for the replay tomorrow.